Hi, welcome and thanks for watching my video. I recently purchased a next level racing haptic feedback seat cover, the HF8 Pro. So that one is a bit stronger than the HF8, and I see on Reddit and stuff like that a lot of people are asking for profiles, how to set it up, and I understand them because I first downloaded a profile from a well-known sim racer, but yeah, the seat cover felt a bit mediocre when I used that profile. Then I saw some other Reddit posts that had a link to another profile, which then I downloaded that one, and that was already a lot better, but still not to my liking. But it showed me some techniques I could use to make the profile better. So mine is specifically made for GT7. It's specifically made to be both informative and immersive because, yeah, I like both. You need to know what's happening with the car, obviously, but you also need to feel the power of the car, the speed of the car, and just like racing in a Group 3 car or in a Group 2 car, it's intense, so you need to feel that intensity. So with my profile, I try to do that. I've built this profile with 3 cars, the Mazda 3 Group 4 car, the Porsche 911 Group 3 car, and the Xiaomi SU7. Now that last one is an electric car, and those seem to be a special kind regarding with the RPMs, because with my profile they can get really tough on the profile when you have a lot of speed. I'm still trying to find out if I can select the profile with certain models then to adjust it, but I haven't found it yet. So if anybody knows how you can do that, then yeah, I can improve on this profile. Also, because those 3 cars, I've tested it with those 3 cars, road cars, regular road cars, it can be a bit hefty, this profile. Although it's still nice, but it's always regarding the RPM. That's something you may or may not like, but I'll explain later why. So let's first start with the first thing. The default profile sets too many effects, and some of them aren't compatible with GT7. You'll see that with a red icon, so you can just delete those. And what I also have to do is, because even if I manage to let this profile be downloaded by or anyone, it seems to only save the effects and not the motor's output. As you can see over here, you have the effects profile tab and the motor's output. And the profile seems to be saved only for this. But the motor's output is also very important, because otherwise some effects can be different. So let's first start with what I have from the effects profile. So delete any effect that you don't need. So I'll show them here. I've divided them into groups. You can create a group by this over here. You got add effect, add group. So if you push this button, you can present with a window and you can create a group. It's empty then, that group. It's first empty, but you can drag the effects you need in here. So let's try this further. So my first group is the group forces, and you've got acceleration g-force, deceleration g-force, and lateral g-force. Those should be already on there by default. I've disabled currently the acceleration g-force and deceleration g-force because it contradicts the effects of the speed effect. Well, it doesn't really contradicts it, but it brings the lower end of the speed and the higher end of speed to the same level, so you don't feel the build-up of the speed anymore that much. But I'll explain that later when I get to that effect. The lateral g-force I keep enabled, and I've added the impacts. So if you hit a wall or hit another car, then those effects you also need to feel. For the second group, the group wheels, you've got TC active, the wheels lock, the wheel slip, and the traction loss. For group wheels, no, I got all group wheels. I got group engine. I've got the gear shift, the RPMs, and the speed. And then we got the next group, is the group road. And these are the effects: road impacts, road vibration, and simulated road texture. This last one isn't really necessary because you're not gonna feel it during racing. It's only if you're driving leisurely, so very calm, but that's not something you're gonna do in GT7. It's racing, it's not planting. So first I'll close these effects that you can see which groups. So these 4 groups I have. Now let's go to the modus out. No, first, if you see on this part, this is the main volume of the global gain that they call it. I've set it to 60. So that leaves room to scale it up or to scale it down in general. So you always have, if you don't find it strong enough, which I doubt with the HF8 Pro, you can dial it up. Or if you're just on the regular HF8, you can dial it up to 100, I guess, because I've heard those motors aren't as strong as the HF8 Pro. So at first set that to 60. Also with the HF8 Pro, I've set the dial on the seat itself to the orange color. So people who have a HF8 Pro should know what that means. But it's also to give you room to dial either up or down. So the next step, we go to the modus output. I already had opened this, but as you can see all your devices, and you need to select the force field pad or the next level racing HF8 haptic gaming pad. You have to make sure it's enabled. Yeah, mine is now disconnected. You enable it, and then you can uncollapse it, and you can see all the motors, and here you can see all the effects. That's why you need to first make sure you have all the effects you need or you want, because otherwise this gets messy. So now I have all the effects in here that I'm actually using. So I'll show them here first. Also, you have over here in the left hand corner of this, you can see show effect per gain. You have to enable this because this is important, and you'll notice soon why. So make sure that is selected. So here. So first the acceleration g-force, just set it to the seat RR and the seat, so the back of the seat you're sitting, the lower back. So the first four are where you're actually sitting on, and the last four are where your back is leaning against. So you have these on 100%. Deceleration force is in the two fronts. The gear shift, you have them all on 100. The impacts I also set to all the motors, everything to 100. Lateral G-forces, all the left motors to the left side, and all the right motors to the right side. Now most of these are already on by default. Then we have the road impacts. So you divide these to the corresponding motor on the ones you're sitting on, and also everything 100%. Then you have the road vibration. It's the same as the road impacts. So these are the same, you can see here. Then we have the RPMs. So I have the RPMs. I have here's a special one. So I have all the motors selected except for the two in the front you're sitting on, because I mainly want to focus on the back for the RPMs, so that I can still feel a bit more of the tires, the effects of that's regarding the tires. So what I also did is, for the seats on the back right and the back left, I've put those to 70%, because again, I've set the motors for the tire, for the left back tire to the left back seat motor, and vice versa for the right motor. But so I don't want to drown out that effect, and that's why I put this to 70, that I still have that effect, but not as strong as that one, as 100%. For the lower back, left and right, you keep it at 100, and for the higher ones in the back, I've set those to 50%. Why I've set those to 50% is because I also have a speed effect, which I have to the which I've set to the back engines, and otherwise it's going to contradict that again. So I still, with this setup, I still have a lot of the RPMs effects going through all the seats, but not drowning out the other effects. So this one is an important one. For the simulated road textures, it's all on and on 100%. For the speed, it's another important one. Oh yeah, I've set all engines to on. You can also set it off, but I've kept it on. Why? I don't know. Maybe to make it vibrate more, I think. But still, the ones you're sitting on the floor, I've set those to 60% for the speed. So again, you still have something from the speed effect, but you don't drown out the effects of the wheels where you're sitting on. And TC active, all the motors on the seats. Traction loss, again, everything on the seats regarding left, right. You can always pause the video if you can't follow. Then we got the wheels lock. It's the same. Yeah, so for the wheels lock, every motor individual to every side. And the same for wheel slip, because these are all regarding the tires. So you need to feel each side. And there we are. Yeah, those are okay. So we have that. So if you have put all this, you can unclip it again, and we go back to the FX profile. So we start with the group forces. I can set this on. Wait a minute. And you can see the effects here. I'm not actually using these, but you can set it to this, or I haven't really tested this one. Also, let's see this one. Okay, yeah. For the lateral G-forces, it's quite easy. I've set to 55%. Left-right mode, most of it is default. And these are the effects of the low force and effects of the high force. And now I'm remembering something that you shouldn't forget, something very important. Let's go back to the modus output. This is also very important. So you have this, and there's one thing that's also important because it's really, really, really important. Otherwise, some effects won't work or not that great. So you see here this the output tuning. Now hit that button. So if you so now you can see this. Wait, I'm going to do it again. So output tuning here, and you get this screen. Set the threshold to 0 and set the minimum force to 5, because otherwise the effects won't be that great. So this is really, 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 really important. Do this now. Okay. Now let's go back to the effects profile. Where were we? Group forces. So the lateral G forces, these are the settings. Also not much anything else. Is when you feel the direction of which side your car is leaning to, if it's too much force in it. So that's why that is. Excuse me. So now I have impacts. I've set this to 100 because, well, an impact is hard. And the sensitivity to 65. And I've set the response filter to this. So threshold, so gamma factor, threshold. Because I don't need to feel every impact. I only need the harsh impacts. Otherwise, you're gonna feel this and that's gonna mess up with the other effects. Because during racing, you already have so many effects, so you don't need to feel every tiny hit. And this is already, you feel the important hits, the harder hits, and also because of how strong the other effects are, you wouldn't feel those before this side. But that's why I actually eliminated them. So, okay. But these are for the forces. Now let's go to the group reels. The TC active, this is just, active on pulse duration 80. Yeah, I have got a free version. So it's automatically 100 milliseconds. And I've set this to 30%. Okay. Now the wheels lock, set it to 50% main volume. As the lock sensitivity to normal, use lock only. And the mode is corners, but most of these are default values, except for the threshold and stuff. I think that I've or these. I think the wheels lock I've left as they are. So you can see if these are the same. For the wheel slip, these effects. I've set it to 80% main. Corners. You can set these on, but mute when wheel lock effect is currently active. Yeah, that was, I think, also default values. I've changed to these ones here again for reasons not to drown out some subtle effects. Okay, this one. Now let's go to the traction loss. I've set the traction loss to 55%, and the rest is standard, like how it is. Okay. Now we go to the group engine, the gear shift. This are these settings also to 55%. Always disengaging and engaging, but that's default values. I think the difference is here. Gear engaging, debouncing delay, 1100, and pulse duration 800. Yeah, minus again 200 milliseconds. Okay. Now here with the RPMs, this is a special one. So I've set this to 42. And when you click on this icon with the pen, and click on it, and you can adjust the curve. So this first curve here is when actually your car is standing still, and the engine is still running. So you can feel some vibration of the car, like you would in a car of that caliber, if you're just sitting in it. And just feel the tremble of the car. So this goes off. So as soon as you start using the throttle and gain a little bit of RPM, those vibrations go away. Those vibrations are beginning to come back on this side when you're at the last 70% or something for your RPMs. So you start to feel the engine a bit as a warning of soon you have to use your pedals. You have to shift. Sorry, excuse me, forgot the word. So you have to shift. So, and then when you're almost redlining, it goes almost straight up. You make it more intensive. So okay, you can feel by the vibration for, okay, now I definitely have to shift. And this works great for the group 4 cars, the group 3 cars and such like this. But the trouble with this profile is, where I said earlier, with the EV cars and the road cars. For the EV cars, apparently some EV cars, electrical, like the Xiaomi, they don't have RPMs, not that much, but as soon as they go beyond a certain speed, all of a sudden the RPMs go high, and then you feel a lot of this high RPM. So you feel the seat shaking a lot. So it feels like, yeah, you're on a Mars launcher or something, I don't know. So in that regard, you may want to dial it a bit down for this kind of car. And the road cars, because of the nature of those cars, the effects are less intensive, but because of less intensive effects, RPM is felt harder. So that's also the trouble. I haven't found yet how I can let Simhub select between profiles regarding which model of the car you're using. I have seen something that should be possible, but not there yet. So for anyone, we cancel. So if you find it too strong, you can always dial it down here a bit, or specifically to certain cars if you want to switch that. Oh, that's that. Now the next one is a speed effect. Now I added this because I like the feeling that, yeah, you need to feel the speed. You need to feel that you're in a car that goes very fast. So I've tried to set it up that it's in relation to the actual speed and not conditional to the car, because otherwise you always get too hard effect. So at first the main volume is set to 25. The effect settings you here set to manual. You've got here you've got auto and you've got manual. So you have to set this to manual, and the values you see here is, as you see, kilometers per hour and kilometers per hour. So if you're somebody with miles per hour, you have to adjust these values accordingly. So these effects start to kick in when you're driving 50 kilometers an hour and is at its max at 100% when it's at 280 kilometers per hour. But you wouldn't, because of all the effects, other effects running, you won't be aware of this effect until somewhere around 120, 130 kilometers per hour. I've also set the gamma factor to 0.80 to have it slightly here, it bends a little bit downward. Because you can, with this actually, you can adjust at what time you start to feel the speed and how strong. So in this way, like it's set up here, on the set, you start to feel it around 120 kilometers, 130 kilometers an hour, and I think it's a good speed because that's when usually we in our country we have to stop gaining speed. This is our limit where we can drive, and I think then you really start to feel it. So from 130 kilometers an hour, it starts to ramp up more and more and more until 280. You do have to be careful though, because after a while you start to feel, if you're driving for an hour like this, you start to feel it after you've done racing, you still start to feel this. So gotta warn you. Next is group road. So I've got road impacts, road vibration, and simulated texture. Let's first start with the simulated road texture, as this isn't that important. See, I've set it to 8%, and it's just like it said, simulated. So it actually doesn't take any data from the game, it just makes it up its own. So I've set the effect low force to 5 kilometers an hour, effect high force to 50, simulated road grain percent 50%, and the gamma factor to 70. But you can leave this effect on, because if you're racing, you're not gonna feel this. Instead, we've got these two important ones, at road vibration and road impacts. So there is an effect for curbs in Simhub, but GT7 doesn't support that one. It also says that. So it says that you have to do it using road vibration and road impacts. So these two, they kind of replace the curbs, because you don't have that data for GT7. And let's start for the road vibrations. These go from subtle effects in the road, as the more stronger ones, the more heftier ones. This is set to 80%, and the mode is corners, because you need to feel the individual tires. Now, this, I don't really know what it actually auto calibrating sensitivity and auto threshold sensitivity. But these are the settings I use that felt great. So the auto calibration sensitivity 200 or high, the auto threshold sensitivity a step down from normal, so at 45. And here is the response filter. So the gamma factor is 1.35 because, well, the smaller effects, you don't feel them that much. So to increase that feeling of the tinier structures in the road, I've set that it responds a bit heftier. Because it's already with GT7, I've noticed some curves you don't feel at all, but that's because they're quite smooth and flat in the game, and that's why you don't actually feel them. Well, I think in one way you should actually, but that's why you don't feel them. So to pick up more of those lower effects, I've set it to 1.35. And I also set this threshold to 0 because I want to feel every tiny bit. Because I say the real subtle ones you already can't feel. So if you're already also gonna put a threshold onto that, yeah, okay. Minimum force is 0 because yeah, it needs to be felt. Well, you need the minimal forces need to be minimal and the maximum forces need to be maximum. Now the input gain is 200 because yeah, it's already strong enough. Shouldn't go higher because this is already strong. So these do the lower effects and the mid effects, and you also get a bit of the higher effects with this one. And then we go to road impacts. Now road impacts is set to 90% and the auto calibration sensitivity to normal or 50. And what I've done here, this is a response curve, because these road impacts, these are generally or the more pronounced curbs, like those sausages you drive over and stuff like that. That's what this is gonna pick up. And but to have it more of a divide from the road vibration, I've also set the gamma factor to 135 because then you feel the low ends a bit harder. The minimum force to 10 also, bringing everything from the impact up so that you better feel the distinction between a road impact and a road vibration, and also not that it blends the two together, because road impacts and road vibration need to work together with each other. And that is my profile. I hope I've gotten everything I needed to say, hopefully. Oh, this video is already taking long, so yeah. I hope you're satisfied with this. I'm going to try to make sure, find a way to set the profile file for download if possible. And if I manage to do that, I will put a link in the description for it. And otherwise, yeah, you have to go by this video. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. And be sure to like and subscribe, because as you see, I need the algorithm to pick my channel up. So see you later, and maybe until we race together. Bye.